Hey guys, welcome to the Fitness Entrepreneur Show with me, Phil Graham. Today I want to talk about risks and I want to talk about dangers. Risks and dangers to your online fitness business. Now, I'm not going to talk about the pandemic or the lockdown or clients pausing or leaving because they can't use your services during lockdown. I want to talk about some big risks and dangers outside of the pandemic that are pretty much ever present and could happen at any time. Now, there are many. I just want to distill this down into three super relevant high risks that are potentially there sitting right underneath your nose and could potentially wipe out your whole entire life's work. So why am I bringing this up? Why am I talking about risks? Well, it's important to be prepared. It's important to have awareness. As you grow as an entrepreneur, your awareness is one of the most important things that you have. Your awareness of your market, your awareness of the threats to your business, knowing where you're weak, knowing where you're strong. And sometimes in business, we can be taken out by what we call black swan events. These are events that we can't control. They're events that literally just happen. And I want to run through a couple of key examples. The first thing, and these are in no particular order, is if you've built a business up on Facebook ads, and all of a sudden the ad account gets shut down, you're going to be in trouble in terms of lead flow. If you're in trouble in terms of lead flow, then you're going to struggle to be able to book sales calls. If you can't book sales calls, then you're going to have problems with generating revenue. Now, when we talk about Facebook, we can see all the stuff that's going on nowadays where it's going to be harder to market to people. iOS are turning on, a particular setting that is going to make it harder for people to retarget. And as a result of that, it's going to be harder to get your message in front of the right people if they select that particular option. So what you've got to realize is that you've got to sort of think outside of Facebook ads, and you've got to look at, right, what other platforms could I build my business upon? Because if you're very dependent on one platform and that platform takes you out, then you're in trouble. And I say this all the time, but you must build a strong organic base. If you've got a strong organic base, that means that no matter what platform you post on, people know you, they know who you are. And as a result of that, you're not like solely reliant on one platform. So please bear that in mind if you are using Facebook ads. And what we do with all our clients is we get them to build up their organic base. We get them to consider another platform that if one platform went wrong, they could move on to another platform. So for example, if you are using Facebook ads and you're solely dependent upon that, you should have an email list. You should possibly look at considering YouTube. You should look at considering collaborations and shout outs and things like that. Like these are all things that are going to protect you, because safe to say Facebook was shutting down ad accounts all the time in 2020 and they're still doing it now. And it was in relation to, certain things that were being said, changes in ad regulations, changing in things that you could say, things that you couldn't say. And a lot of it was controlled by AI. So there was a lot of false account shutdowns. And with false account shutdowns, you can't really do anything about it. We actually had our account shut down literally 2 days before one of our main events. And it literally stopped the flow of people buying tickets. So we had to go to our organic base and we had to say, hey guys, listen, our accounts got shut down. Would you please shout this event out for us? And that saved us because we had another platform or avenue. So I just wanted to make you aware of that. And that's something that we do with all our clients, is really making them aware of that and building trust and building brand and building reputation on other platforms and assets per se, so that they can not fall prey to just one account taking them out. The second thing is boredom. If you've got boredom as an entrepreneur, you are at very high risk. Boredom is a result of simply one, either not being inspired delivering on the coaching that you're currently doing right now. You just get fed up of it. You get bored of it because you're probably doing something inside the business that you shouldn't be, or you're trying to do everything and you just associate growing the business with pain. Boredom can also come from when you hit your initial goals. And we see this a lot with entrepreneurs that get successful and hit their financial targets. Once they hit them, they get complacent. And when they get complacent, they just literally lose their drive. And when they lose their drive, then they're not able to continue to push the business on. They don't create new targets for them, and they sort of just flatline and ultimately sink and fade away. Understand, if you want to build a great business, it is going to involve boredom. It's a matter of doing the same stuff in, day out, making sure that you're clear on where your zone of excellence is, putting yourself in there, and making sure that you outsource, hire, or systemize or automate any of the other areas that you don't like doing. That's important in order to keep you inspired. But understand, if you want to get great at something, you've got to be doing it for years, plenty of years, in order to really build reputation with it, excellence with it, and a brand reputation that is known for getting a particular result. And I think boredom also results from not having a long-term vision. We get our clients to build a 3-year grand vision where they really get to picture what they want to be, do, and have in life. And they get really clear on the business that they want to have, the lifestyle that they want to have, what they want to be doing spiritually, mentally, with their family, all of this stuff, what they're going to do with their money, how they're going to invest their money, how they're going to create passive financial freedom with the money that they're making right now. So that they're locked into a longer term vision that gives them the optics to know where they need to move forward with. And we help our clients with really dialing that in when they join us. And that vision, that long-term vision, gives them the clarity to know what to do for the rest of your life. Because safe to say, you've got to be thinking beyond your fitness business. Do you want to be counting reps and talking about calories and, you know, doing all this stuff for the rest of your life? If you do, great. But for most of us, we probably want to start thinking about like life after 50, life after 60. You know, do we want to retire? Do we want to spend our time doing something else? You know, do we want to bring up our family? Do we want to spend time with X, Y, and Z? It could be anything else, but we've got to have the financial resources. We've got to have the freedom in order to do that. And when you build a successful fitness business and you start driving cash flow, you've got to think about not just your immediate needs, but also the longer term needs of you personally and your family. And the only way that you can do that is by investing it and looking at how that active revenue that you're currently generating right now can multiply and create additional revenue down the line. Don't worry about investments until you get the actual main sort of wealth machine created that's allowing you to create cash on demand that you can then put into investments and stuff as well. We've got other things as well, black swan events like being sick. You know, if one of your key team members leaves, if you've got a team, if a bunch of clients leave at once, these are all black swan events that are really important to just note down and go, right, what would I do in this case? And it's something that we always think of in the back of our mind. Like, what would happen if I died tomorrow? What would happen to the business? What would happen to all the clients that are getting charged? What I urge you to do is get really clear on the top 5 dangers that are facing your business. So it could be key team member leaving. It could be a bunch of clients leaving at once. It could be you falling ill. And I definitely recommend setting out what I call a DEFCON system, just getting really clear on what are the action steps that you or one of your team members or your other half would take if such a situation would arise. The benefit of doing that is that it just clears any open loops in your head of what if, and it just gives you the confidence to know what to do in that situation if it happens. If you run a team, looking at a key member of staff or a key team member or coach, if you have one leaving, or for example, even somebody that's helping with fulfillment, if you run any digital products, like what would happen if or your IT person or even your Facebook ads guy or whatever like that tanked and dropped? What are the steps that you're going to do? All I'm doing is just making you aware of these situations. They do happen. They're black swan events, and you don't want to leave yourself open and vulnerable, because the last thing that you want is a black swan event coming, taking you unprepared, and as a result of that, completely crippling the business. Because you've got to remember that these things cause shock, they cause anxiety, they cause stress. And if you're not prepared for them, they can create stress and anxiety in other areas, which can spiral you out of control. So if you really want to build a fitness business that is built on a rock solid foundation rather than a house of cards, and I want you to ask yourself that question right now: have you got a business that's built on solid foundations? You've got your systems, you've got your processes dialed in, you know who your team members are, you know that you've got a backup, you know who you would go to straight away if any single one of them left or fell ill or something like that, that you've got replacements in place. And guys, I don't know where you're watching this from, but if you're still on lockdown and you've got spare time, look at the top 5 dangers that scare you, that keep you up at night, and write a 5 to 10 step process of what would happen if that was the situation. Please do that. Trust me, that will put you in really good stead It's my duty to tell you this stuff because I've seen it happen way too many times. Key member staff leaves, somebody falls sick, bunch of clients leave at once. It causes stress. So hope that was useful. See you on the next episode. Take care.